Hello, dear educational community. We are students of 7th semester of English language teaching program at the Amazonia University. We are performing our first pedagogical practices at the educational institution Técnico Industrial La Libertad headquarters.
Our names are Camilo Mendoza,
Hilary San Juan.
Cristian Camilo Gómez.
Erika Tatiana Orjuela.
Mario Ramírez González.
The primary school has two journeys, one in the morning and the another one in the afternoon. The school has 12 graduated teachers in elementary school and a coordinator. It also has 12 classrooms where there are levels from preschool to 5th level.
There is an average of 33 students per classroom. Besides, there is a main room, an office coordinator, and a restaurant. Also, there is a cafeteria for students and another mini cafeteria for teachers. Moreover, the school has a playground special for the students of preschool. Besides, the school has 3 bathrooms, a soccer field, and a multiple field too.
I am Erika Tatiana Orjuela. It is a pleasure for me to share with you my different experiences during the teaching practice. I have the opportunity to share with many little students from 7 to 8 years old as a teacher in a real context, where I have to create a good environment, various strategies, many meaningful activities in order to bring a quality education to my students. I consider that if I want as a teacher that my students have a meaningful learning and I feel great with the profession that I'm going to exercise in a few years, I have to try to be the best teacher for my students. At the first class, many students were not well placed when I began to speak in English. They say that they didn't understand it, but in the course of the class, I decided to create activities to encourage them to learn and pay attention. To have two different groups was the best experience for me. Each group had different characteristics. Each one had some qualities that the other one didn't have. So it was a challenge for me because I had to use some approach or methodologies according to the needs of each classroom. I had two groups of first level. First B was very disciplined and organized. Therefore, it was easier and better for me because they paid more attention to the class. On the contrary, third C was a little distracted and undisciplined, so I had to begin to create different strategies and techniques to improve and keep the control on the students and the class. Besides, in this group, I met a guy who had discipline problems. He was a student who was repairing the same level. With him, I had some problems, but I decided to have a positive attitude and talk with him at the end of the class. Minutes later, the cooperating teacher saw the attitude of the child, so she talked with him. From that moment, the child began to work with great interest and without undiscipline. On the other hand, I couldn't perform all activities that I prepared in the lesson plan because the students were in the process of reading and writing, so they were more delayed to develop activities. Moreover, they were so small and creative. The first class was so significant for me. I could realize that really I want to be a teacher. After the first class was much better and motivating, the students felt more confident with me, which allowed that they pay attention and the type of activities kept entertained to them. In addition, I can realize that my students like so much the drawing and color it, so I try to use them in order to they like the English and my classes. Furthermore, I use colorful pictures to make a meaningful understanding. The use of flashcards and posters were of much help to capture the students' attention during the class. For instance, the guy with discipline problems of the first C worked very good and did all activities. Also, the use of video called Google liked them so much. Maybe it was because their teacher rarely used technological resources in the classroom. In some moment of the class, the student had a bad behavior, were out of my control, began to make indiscipline and play between them. So I decided to implement a strategy in which I could have the control of the class. I made a behavior poster, which was written the name of each student. First B was organized in tables by 3 students, and third C was organized by rows. During the class, I evaluate the students' behavior and participation with an emoticon. The emoticons really motivated them to have good discipline and attention. In one class, I was observed by my teacher of practice. It was a little tense, but my lesson plans was successful. I did an activity about commands where a student had to cut and stick. It was accepted by my students, and they were so entertained and concentrated. During 2 weeks, I didn't have class because teacher decided to do a strike in order to claim in the list of demands to the Minister of Education and national government. With all this situation, I thought about my future profession. I want to be a teacher because I like it and like to teach to children. But what advantage I will have in my future when I will be exercising my profession? So I support the strike. After the strike, the class was different for me. I had a class with only the half of the students. This had advantage and disadvantage. First of all, the class was much better and understanding because students were few, but the missing students will not be learning. In the course of the class, I had better control of the group. I knew what my students like and dislike, what motivates them to learn English. In general, my class was funny. The students have the opportunity to express and interact with other students. I tried to use different techniques and strategies in order to have a better learning and teaching process. I want to be a different teacher and not a traditional teacher. Finally, as a conclusion, the teaching practice was essential for me. It contributes in my academic process and my training as a teacher. I can face in a real context and practice the different knowledge that I have acquired during my career. To be a teacher for many students with different personalities, knowledge, and customs have been significant for me. It helps me to realize if really I want to be a teacher in my future. Besides, to have 2 levels provide more opportunity to apply the different techniques, strategies, or methodology that I have learned in order to know if they can be performed in some situation or create them to have a quality teaching process.